What's that you say? You gotta turn on the radio. Okay. You got to listen to Prohibition. Radio with Emma Clair. You got to listen to Prohibition. Radio with Emma Clair.
Welcome along to the Prohibition radio show with me, your host for today, Tallulah Goodtimes. I've been a guest on this show before and I'm delighted today to be turning the tables and interviewing Prohibition's head honcho, Emma Clair. So keep listening for Emma's mix of tunes along with our chat. Let's kick off with some fresh new music from Zouzoulectric, released just last week, and a song called The Caravan on Chin Chin Records.
On a sunny morning in July, I'll put on my red skirt, buy a little caravan and paint it blue and red. I'll build a fireplace in front under the old oak, wrapped in blankets, here they coming, big questions on the starry sky. Tell me when do the dead stars go? Do they know that they were loved? Do they know of millions of mice? Do they know that they enjoy their beauty every night? Waking up at 6 a.m., smelling misty meadows, deer feeding me, my little horse, loving the simplicity. If you want to change the world, be the change by yourself. Tell me when do the dead stars go? Do they know that they were loved? Do they know of millions of mice? Do they know that they enjoy their beauty every night? Do the dead stars go? Do they know that they were loved? Do they know of millions of mice? Do they know that they enjoy their beauty every night? Tell me when do the dead stars go? Do they know that they were loved? Do they know of millions of mice? Do they know that they enjoy their beauty every night?
Electro swing freshness from Nelly Simon and Jürgen Kausmann together, Zouzoulectric. Just love that sounds of The Caravan. Into this from my debut album Interstellar Swing, here's Universal Love.
If everything is from the start, and we are just some cosmic dust, then what is mine is yours, is ours. In universal love I trust. Lead me where the bright lights dazzle, by the winter garden lake. Join me where the jazz bands jazz, swirl me in the shimmy shake. Fold me in my furs and wrappers, I'll enjoy the ice cold air. I'll be universal loving you. Lead me, join me, swirl me, hold me. I'll be universal loving you. Lead me, join me, swirl me, hold me. I'll be universal loving you. Lead me in universal love. Join me in universal love. Swirl me in universal love. Hold me in universal love. mine is yours, is ours. In universal love we must trust.
Hashtag Prohibition MCR.
Leave me where the bright lights dazzle by the winter garden lake. Join me where the jazz bands jazz, swirl me in the shimmy shake. Fold me in my furs and wrappers, I'll enjoy the ice cold air. I'll be universal loving you. Leave me in universal love. Join me in universal love. Swirl me in universal love. In universal love. We must join me, swirl me, swirl me, hold me. We must universal love. Leave me, join me, swirl me, swirl me. In universal love I trust.
Next up, a remix from producer Jimi Needles of the great Cab Calloway. Not his most famous song, Minnie the Moocher, but a great song nonetheless. Here's the sounds of Happy Feet.
Happy feet, I've got those happy feet. Give them a low down beat, and they begin dancing. I keep cheerful on an earful of music sweet, 'cause I've got happy feet.
love the squelch-tastic sounds of Jimi Needles on this reboot of this tune. And we move on with the sounds of L'air Latent and their most recent track, A Tale of Lockdown, called Summer Leaves.
Shiny days are gone, summertime is done. I'm waiting for the snow to feel. Darker clouds above, coming down to fall. Like a picture of how I feel.
To the Prohibition Radio Show.
The next instrument you're gonna hear is the drums. Every day at home, rounding all alone. Fear is killing our dream. Things are getting slow. Hope that it will go on. Nothing changes me, I need.
There's been some amazing electro swing coming out of America, and one band from LA who described themselves as having one foot in the future and one in a dark, smoky jazz age cabaret, Red Light District, and next up with their cover of the famous Jolene.
Please don't
One of my favourite artists and inspirations, Caro Emerald, is up next with a song remixed by the Swing Growers Pisk. Check this out, Wake Up Romeo.
Wake up.
Find us on Facebook, facebook.com, Prohibition MCR.
When I first met you, you'd always listen. Talk for hours and concentrate on kissing. Now your lips are like a lump of coal. They've got the color, but they have got no soul. Those early days, romantically cafeing, speaking a language that always said I'm staying. Now every road is blacker than tar. Is that the color of your heart or where we are? Wake up, Romeo. Enough about you, that's gotta go. We got a long, long way to go, and you're nobody without me. Wake up, Romeo. You're giving me bad insomnia. We got a long, long way to go. Just shut up and love me. We take a drive, the radio is on. Their conversation is all you seem to want. 'Cause when I speak, you always turn it down. That isn't good, and it's become your style. You take me home and promise we won't fight. And baby, 10 o'clock's too early for good night. Wake up, Romeo. Enough about you, that's gotta go. We got a long, long way to go, and you're nobody without me. Wake up, Romeo. You're giving me bad insomnia. We got a long, long way to go. Shut up and love me. Why do you do that? You know I don't like it when you do that. I really don't like it when you do that. So why do you do it when you know I don't like it, and you know you shouldn't do it, so don't do that. I really don't like it when you do that. You know I don't like it when you do that. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-da do that. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-da do that. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-da do that. You know I don't like it when you do that. I really don't like it when you do. Wake up, Romeo. Enough about you, that's gotta go. We got a long, long way to go, and you're nobody without me. Wake up, Romeo. You're giving me bad insomnia. We got a long, long way to go.
So everything Roberto touches turns to gold, and that's another incredible remix from him there of Caro Emerald and Wake Up Romeo. Before we move on into our interview with Emma Clair and her Prohibition guest mix, I'd like to say a massive thank you to Emma Clair for having me host the show this month, and to you for listening. Look out for the release of Sisters Are Doing It For Themselves by Emma Clair and Alana Lies on the 8th of March, International Women's Day. Before our interview, it's time for the sounds of Wolfgang Lohr and a collaboration with Emma Lee and Ashley Slater, the brilliant, uplifting sounds of Keep On Smiling.
Hey, if you're feeling blue, I'll tell you what to do. If dancing blows away and smile. If life ain't looking good, there are times in your neighborhood. It's dances blows away and smile. Let's all get on, dance on, smiling, dance on. Let's all do the stuff. Let's all
Hashtag Prohibition MCR.
So first of all, I'd like to thank you for trusting me with your interview. Welcome along.
Oh, thank you very much. You are very welcome. Do you know what? I couldn't have thought of a better person to hand over the interview duties to. I listened to your International Women's Day podcast that you did a while ago that you invited me to be a part of. So, you know, you've got the skills and you've been doing all the stuff with BBC, Radio Suffolk. So I'm really excited to be interviewed by you.
Oh, thank you. And I'm honoured to be here and really pleased to be asking you questions because in my research, it turns out there's quite a lot that I'd like to find out about you and your creative life and your work in music. So let's dive straight in with the first questions if you're feeling ready.
Yes, I think so.
Excellent. So I'd like to set the scene with the first questions and talk about your early life. And I'd love to know, what's your earliest memory of feeling completely excited and engaged by music?
Ooh, that's a great question. I guess when I was a kid at school, I played the piano and clarinet for a bit, which was pretty cool. But I was a super shy kid, and I don't think it was like really my time. I think the kind of like first time I really felt kind of like the engagement and excitement was when I bought my set of turntables. It was all new and it was all exciting. I'd always had like a big passion for music on the dance floor as a clubber, and kind of like had a lot of friends that were DJs, and it just used to fascinate me. So yeah, it was just that time that I got my turntables.
Oh, excellent. Okay, so it was sort of quite a bit later that the kind of the real love for it began.
Yeah, I've always had a love for music, but yeah, I definitely came into DJing pretty late. I think I was like 24 when I first started. Yeah. So in terms of DJ age, that's like pretty old.
And yet it's still quite young, isn't it?
Yeah, it is in the grand scheme of things, but I think my big regret is like not getting into it sooner. Like I didn't really know what I wanted to do. Like at school, I think for the time that we were at school, it was very much being pushed into kind of like academic stuff, and I'm clever, I've never really been into that much. And as I said, being shy as well, it was kind of like I was my own worst enemy, because I've had a love of performing arts. I used to do stuff like I was in the Guides, and we used to do like, they called them gang shows. So they were all like songs and everything from like bygone eras, and I used to love it. But as I said, I was a shy geeky kid at the back that never got picked for solos or anything, so it's very much been a slow burner with me.
Yeah, so you mentioned that you played piano and clarinet, so
yes.
Is that something that you think you might pick up again at any point, or that you feel brings something to the way that you approach music now?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, at the time, I didn't really see the value of it. I think it wasn't really cool to play an instrument when we were at school. It is now, and that's a massive plus. But yeah, at the time, it was just kind of like one of those things I did. Like my grandma played the piano, and my dad played the piano, and he played the euphonium in a band. So there is like a bit of musical kind of like roots in my family. And that's kind of like how I fell into it. And I think although my music theory knowledge isn't amazing, I've definitely, playing an instrument has definitely given me some kind of like knowledge on the scales and, you know, stuff like that. In terms of picking it back up again, I bought myself like a full-sized MIDI keyboard, which has been a massive help, because before that I just had like a tiny little Akai thing that you'd have to have like tiny little fingers to be able to play it, and only on one octave. So that's actually inspired me. And in terms of clarinet, maybe, I'm not sure. Clarinet is a funny story actually, because I always wanted to play the flute, but I could never get a sound out of it. I remember being at school when they had like the musical instrument trial day, and it was a clarinet and a flute, and I was like, I want to play the flute, and it's like no, nothing. So I ended up with the clarinet. It wasn't kind of as sexy as the flute. Sorry to any clarinet players out there.
Which is, because I actually almost the same as you used to play clarinet as well, and it's I mean now I love the sound of clarinet, and how fascinating that it's something that has actually helped you, and all the music playing in your younger years has really helped you in your work today. So your grandmother was a pianist, your father a brass player, so do you feel, you touched on it briefly there, do you feel it has sort of influenced you and maybe helped with confidence for your life in music?
Yeah, definitely. I think me and my dad are like super similar. We definitely share the more creative gene in my family. My mum's more of a teacher, analytical brain and stuff. Me and my dad, although my dad's basically into spreadsheets and stuff, but that's another story. But yeah, I think definitely that kind of spurred me on, so to speak. Because I remember going round to my grandma and granddad's house when I was a kid, and my grandma had a piano. It was quite out of tune, but it was still a piano, and I remember kind of like bashing along on that a bit. So
Honky tonk style.
Yeah, so totally.
And so your love of the performing arts and and performance and music is something that developed when you were younger, and you then went on to a higher national diploma in media and performance, later a degree in television and radio. So evidently this gave you a really solid grounding for what you're doing today. You mentioned going out clubbing. Would you say that there's like a pivotal moment that you actually decided that DJing could be a career for you?
Do you know, it's funny because I never really saw it as a career when I came into it, because I didn't really have, like today now there's so much kind of like tools and YouTube tutorials out there that give DJs an insight into what you actually need to do to make a business out of your DJing. But back then I was just like playing tunes. Like I started off with playing hard house, and that was such a small scene, so you got paid like 50 quid, sometimes not even that. You get handed a book of tickets to like play this gig. But because I was so obsessed with hard house, to me it was just these opportunities to play for these brands that I'd just like absolutely been a huge fan of for my clubbing days. That was kind of enough for me. I think it was only until I started playing kind of like more widely accessible music such as house that the kind of like paid gigs became more of an opportunity. And then I kind of I guess meeting Chris, my partner, was actually a kind of pivotal moment as well, because he's always been a big kind of driving force behind me and always pushed me and always really encouraged me. And I think when I kind of went through it's funny because I interviewed Professor Elemental, and he's had quite a similar journey to me, shall we say, kind of like having all these office jobs that we hated but actually taught us some really good skills in. So that was kind of like, I spent quite a few years not really knowing what I wanted to do, but always sitting there in these horrible like call center customer service jobs, just drawing pictures and music notes, because that's all I wanted to do. But
yeah. And do you think there's quite a pressure on having to know what you want to do?
Yeah, 100%.
Growing up, I know that I felt that as I was growing up, and certainly in the realms of DJing and career in our younger years, as you say, there are now so many resources available, aren't there, if you want to progress that. So, I mean, you're evidently sort of pretty driven, really, to kind of, do you feel you've carved your own career and sort of found your way off your own back very much?
I think it's been 50-50. I think I've been in the right place at the right time, but also on the flip side of that, I've put the graft in. Like, I've never given up. I mean, the first gig I got, I hate this story, but at the same time it's pretty cool because it gave me, an opportunity into music. But the first gig I ever got was because I was a girl, because he was like short of a DJ on like, because he was doing this girls versus boys night. But no, I think it's been a mixture of drive and also just if you get opportunities land at your door, just grabbing them.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's really important, isn't it, when you want to pursue a career doing something that you really love?
Yeah, exactly. And also I have to say, like, obviously, because I went self-employed, I think it's back in 2015 now, but I've always, I think some people think that you can, there's very few DJs that can actually make a living just out of playing, like, in the clubs. It doesn't really work like that. And I decided, like, from that moment that I went self-employed, that I'd literally do anything it took to not get a job. So I have done the whole, the corporate scene, the wedding scene, everything like that, just to kind of like bring the money in, because as you know yourself, it's someone once said to me, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Yeah. And I think that was like some of the best advice I've ever had. And it's, there's no kind of like there's no right or wrong answer on how to kind of like find your way in music. There's so many different ways of approaching it. But that's the approach I took. But I think what's been super cool is since like all the venues shut, I've not had to do any wedding gigs, and I've not had to do any corporate gigs, and I've had so much more time on my hands to be actually able to like do what I want to do. So it's been really nice.
Yeah, definitely. I feel that too.
Yeah.
It sort of it's enforced a different approach in a way, hasn't it?
Exactly.
To tackling how to sort of do what you love and also survive at the same time.
Yeah, for sure. That's that. Yeah.
And yeah, and then so you mentioned commitment, and I'm a great believer that you know, sort of once you commit to a goal, then things start happening, and you really you know, sort of start progressing towards the life that you want to build for yourself. Is that do you feel that's been the case for you, that since you made that commitment to go self-employed and since you decided that you were all in, that things have really sort of started to happen?
Yeah, I think so. I think that, you know, you have to go all in, because I mean, props to anybody that does like a full-time job and then does their music on the side. To be fair, in that respect, you have to be even more committed, because you're kind of committing 35 hours a week to a working job, and then you're probably committing the same amount of time to kind of like working on your music. But yeah, mindset is definitely an important thing. You have to have also the self-belief and just, as you say, the commitment to make it happen. Otherwise, it's kind of pointless.
Yeah, definitely. So now I'd like to delve a little deeper into your creative life. I'd love to know what your biggest challenge that you've had to overcome to live your life the way that you want it has been, whether it's something internally or externally.
Oh gosh, that's a good question. That's quite a hard question, actually. Biggest struggle, I think it's probably myself. I quite often get in the way of myself. Like, you know, I quite often kind of like hold myself back. I think fear is a big part of holding people back, and I think that's, you know, that's always been a bit of a contributor with me. It's like, you know, so yeah, I think that's probably the biggest challenge. Yeah,
as is often the way when you're working on your own, and you know, and also have a creative mind, I think, and you know, I think that can definitely, I know I empathise with that entirely.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I'd love to know is the aspect of your work that excites you the most.
I guess obviously the music is the most exciting thing, and like discovering new sounds. I do always love to, as people probably know that follow me, I do always love to kind of like play around and put genres and put things together that might not always go together, and I think that's something that will really excite me. Like I think it's just like the rebel inside me wanting to, like, you know, break down boundaries and always kind of like play around with stuff, and I always see like rules there to be broken in music, you know what I mean? Yeah. And that's what really it interests me. I can never be one person, like a person that just plays, you know, tech house and that's all they ever play. I always have to have this constant kind of like strive for like doing stuff differently, and that's always in some ways that's a bit of a detriment to me as well, but it's also what really excites me.
And I think that following your excitement, if you're there doing your own thing, that's so important anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Actually, that probably leads on very nicely to my next question, which is, what would you say is your mission in your life's work? Have you got like a sort of, you know, a defining mission?
Yeah, it's quite funny you answer that question, because not at the moment. However, part of my Arts Council project is I'm actually working with a mentor, a guy who runs an artist agency, and we're actually due to start the mentoring on Friday. And one of the questions that he asked me to kind of like think about is what my mission statement is. So that's funny you should answer that.
Okay, have you about that yet?
I'm not going to say anything on that one, because I think once I say it people are going to hold me to it. So I'm going to leave an element of mystery around what my mission is for the moment. Watch this space. Yeah. I think with you know, any artist, it's very much an open book, and I feel like I'm constantly evolving. You know, some people kind of like find this kind of endpoint, and you know, that's what they do. But with me, I'm very much still on that journey. Every day I'm like constantly changing and evolving. So yeah, we're going to keep that mission one to myself for the moment.
Yeah, I think that's good, and I think as you sort of walk your way through life as well, you change, don't you? Like you say, I mean, you change on a daily basis depending on what mood you wake up in, and and which season of life you're in. There are so many variables, aren't there? So it's true. It was a tricky question, but interesting that you've been asked to.
Yeah, 100%. I said I do have an idea in my head, but I said it's gonna keep in my head for the moment.
Exciting that you. Congratulations on getting your arts.
Thank you.
Funding, and so that was for developing your creative practice, wasn't it? Yeah. So is that about you sort of growing yourself, if you like? Can you tell us anything more about?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the whole point of the Arts Council is I love it because they said be selfish. In order to get the funding, it has to be all about you. So I was like, yeah, you're great. But, I do so much with my music stuff that is giving other people opportunities and everything. But with this Arts Council project, it's very much about me. So it's quite a corporate, flashy title. My project title is Exploring My Artistic Identity and Adapting to Change.
Nice. It sounds great.
Yeah. So basically, I'm spending some time, as it says, exploring my artistic identity. So I'm going to be working with some different producers, musicians instead of synthesizers. But I'm also adapting to change part is you yourself will probably know as a musician, when COVID hit, the rug was kind of like whipped under your feet, and it was like, whoa, I've been too reliant on having to go to places to make money, in-person gigs. So my adapting to change is learning how to make money out of music that isn't just playing DJ gigs. So I've got a couple of courses that I'm doing. I've enrolled on the first one, which is a music business course at the SEM in Manchester. So it's really exciting. I've got a few kind of gaps in my knowledge, and I think the business side is something that I'm really excited to learn about. So yeah, watch this space.
Amazing. Oh, that's so exciting. And I think it's it's one of the great things in a way that's come out of the last year, because it's been a challenge, hasn't it?
Yeah. Yes, it has.
And so obviously there's your Arts Council funding, which is a major celebration, and then also this leads nicely into the big thing of the moment, which is the Swing Sisters.
Yes, I know. Gosh, I feel like the luckiest girl in the world, to be honest. It's quite overwhelming, but also, and it's also quite scary. This year I've got so much to be going on with, and props to you and the other ladies for everyone's club together, and it's just such a cool project to be a part of. It's just an absolute joy and celebration of what we as female artists are capable of. So yeah, it's super cool.
I'm so chuffed to be involved as well, and it's lovely this feeling of solidarity that's come about from the project. So just to backtrack slightly to the point where you decided to set the Swing Sisters project up, what prompted you to set it up? Because you've set up, as well as the album and the crowdfunder for the album, you also have set up the Prohibition label as well, which is going to be a female focus. What was it that prompted you to set it up, and why do you think the project is important?
So with Prohibition, obviously we celebrate our 8th birthday this year, and I think I could probably count on 2 fingers the number of female DJs that have had play to Prohibition, which is absolutely shameful. And I've always wanted to have more ladies involved in the events. I mean, it could be in a girl myself. I always felt so bad not booking them, but it's just there's few and far between. But I mean, there's 2 prongs to that one. Obviously, there are females that play electro swing, but it's having the budget to book these acts for an event. But that's by the by. But in terms of the label and the kind of project, I just wanted to bring everyone together. I think obviously because of COVID, there was more time to do those sorts of things, and there was more time to connect people that might not have been able to connect in the real world, in inverted commas. Yeah. So that was kind of driving behind it. And I think, yes, there are quite a few women in the electro swing scene, obviously the vocalists and musicians, but there are some major gaps. And I think this project actually really highlighted that. In terms of producers, there are literally none. So I'm really hoping that this project will inspire, you know, the future generation of people to kind of get involved, because that's what it's all about, really. You know, music in general, I feel it's really important as an artist to inspire people.
Yeah, and I think that's something that you do by doing what you do as well. And you know, it really is a fabulous project. So if there are aspiring producers listening, what would you say? What would you say is a great starting point for you know, for somebody who's interested in exploring it more?
I think there's a few different approaches. What's worked for me is find somebody that's a level up from you, that doesn't mind messaging them every day, and stick yourself to them like glue. Because that's what I've done. I really want to give a shout out to the guy Andy McBain. Like, we wrote a track together which was called Bootleg Beats, that went out on Electro swing thing. It was a collab. I met Andy through Prohibition. He was one of the fans that came, him and his Mrs. Jax. He played clarinet, he played on stage with me. He's just been such a massive help. So for people watching that want to get into it, yeah, either find somebody who can give you all the help and advice. YouTube is also your friend. You know, there's so many tutorials on there. It might wait for some people. There's courses as well. I know Point Blank are doing some really cool courses. The SEM in Manchester as well. But there's really no set path. But I think you've got to be prepared for it to sound pretty rubbish when you first starting out. as with DJing, it's not going to sound great. There's a lot to learn, and you know, you're always learning. It is hard. Production is hard. I'm not going to lie. I've not taken to it easy. I don't think in terms of the sound design, it's geeky. Do you know what I mean? You've got to really want to do it, but if you do it, it's super rewarding. Yeah.
And hours can pass, can't they? And you've played with one song.
Yeah.
You decide that actually that's not the sound.
Exactly.
that you want to use. But yeah, that's brilliant, and I'm sure it'll be really helpful. So it's that, you know, that exploration, isn't it? Really, and I love the counsel to find someone who knows more and sticking to them like glue.
Exactly. It is. You know, I think that's a big part of being a musician. It's networking, and that's something that I've struggled with. And I have to really push myself with networking, not being a natural extrovert, shall we say. I really shy away from, you know, that, but it is super important. And the last couple of years, I've really started to like learn that you know you have to network. that is a whole different topic of discussion.
Excellent. Well, you know, it's clearly working in terms of, you know, the way that things are progressing. So talking about your production then, it's been really fabulous to see you grow, and looking at your Spotify, you've clocked up quite a few releases now, and you asked me some of these questions.
Oh gosh.
Have you got a favourite, and if so, why?
In terms of the favourite, I'm going to take the standard answer no, because they all have their merits. But there are ones that I prefer. Do you know what? There are ones that I prefer more. I think my recent tracks that I've been putting out, I think Revelation Robot was a bit of a turning point for me. That track really started to show the different sides to me, instead of kind of like trying to meet a tick box. That was the one that really, I felt my personality was really coming through in.
Yeah.
And since then, it's just got more and more. And I think the one like Goes Groove that I released, you know what, that one I listened to it and I'm actually super proud of it, and I don't cringe. And I think to do that with a piece of music shows that you're onto a winner.
So just coming back to Swing Sisters and the production there, I mean, obviously there's some amazing tracks that are all coming together, and you're hearing it all coming together. What stage, sort of overall, is the project now? Is it on target? Do you have a release date for it yet?
Is it on target? I hope so. Yeah. That's all I can say at this moment in time. I hope so. Yeah. Some of the tracks are still being produced. I kind of set dates that I felt were probably earlier than needed in terms of deadlines to ensure that if we do kind of like miss those deadlines, we should still be on time. I mean, this project planning has been a massive kind of learning curve for me. You know, as you can imagine, because you've done your own kind of Kickstarter crowdfunder before, it's a lot of work. So I would anticipate that we will still meet the proposed kind of like late summer release. I'm hopeful. So just watch this space. I'm just waiting on some, as you say, the track, the track that I'm writing with you, Maria, the vocals are coming along and they sound amazing, by the way, just to let everybody know. Sophie and Maria have done an amazing job.
We're both like, I can't stop listening to it, so I think that's a really good sign for me.
It's catchy. I think it's a future earworm.
Yeah. What's your sort of hope for the project?
My hope is obviously we do it justice, because people have funded it, and I've got mad anxiety that people put their hard-earned cash into this project, and I want it to be as good as it can be. Do you know what I mean? I'd hate to hype it up and then people go, oh, do you know what? That's not good. So my hope for the project is just that people see it as a celebration. I think that's the key word. Just a celebration of what the ladies are capable of. As I said, none of us wanted it to be a kind of token or a gesture. We didn't want it to be gimmicky. It's just a pure celebration of women in music. As I said, off the back of that, if we inspire people, great. If not, we've had so much fun learning and collaborating and, forging kind of working relationships and friendships that I think will take us past music and beyond into the future. So I think it's a really kind of cool thing to be a part of.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I know it's something that I've really appreciated more so probably over the course of this year, since we've not been, again, coming back to that thing of not with gigs, is, I really, like, you and I message each other quite frequently. So we'll sort of say, oh, do you know anything about this? Or and it's that solidarity, isn't it? Of fellow women in music. And what a great way to celebrate it. So, I mean, over the years, it started as a small thing, the Prohibition Club Night, and has grown. And you've had some amazing guests. I mean, I'd love to know, is there anybody who hasn't performed at the events that you would love to have perform in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really easy one to answer. Obviously, harking back to Swing Sisters, more females. Do you know what? Prohibition really needs it. I'd love to. I think it's great to. You get girls on the dance floor, when you see another girl performing, you got that kind of special connection. Nothing against male performers, I'm not. But it would just be really nice to get some female artists, obviously yourself, and I'd love to see your band live. In terms of other acts, obviously Parov. I'm not gonna lie. That is like the dream. There's a few acts that I'd like to maybe book that are pushing into more of the house side of things. Okay. There's a few kind of like people that I'm digging at the moment that kind of have that sound that kind of crosses over into electro swing by the kind of like live brass and the trumpets and all that kinds of stuff. But I mean, obviously Parov, obviously Caravan Palace, Swing Growers as well.
Yeah.
It's the big three, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, obviously we've sort of seen a pause in the last year on live events. Are you, and there have been all the announcements about the return to live events, how are you feeling about that in terms of planning for future Prohibition events at the moment?
Yeah, it's a tricky one. Do you know what I mean? I think I've been, obviously, because I'm on Facebook, I've got a really big network, and some people have like started to announce events already, and I'm thinking, do you know what? I think it might be a little bit too soon. The advice from the government was only advice; it's not definite. In terms of Prohibition, should be our 8th birthday in March, so I think we're looking to do a Zoom party. Yeah. We've actually got a rescheduled date from last year, which actually falls on the 26th of June. We've got a boat party booked in and a after party at Brick House Social in Manchester. No, I've just reopened up conversation with the Brick House Social to see where we stand on that one. The boat is a go. So if everything goes to plan and the venues reopen on the 23rd of June, we're actually in a really strong position because every man and his dog is going to be out on the 26th. So because it'll be the first weekend that you're allowed to go out again. So selfishly, I'm keeping my fingers crossed and hoping that does go ahead.
Yeah.
Because wow, what a way to kind of celebrate.
It would be amazing, wouldn't
Yeah.
it? Fingers crossed. I mean, we just don't know, do we?
Yeah, but I mean, further afield other than that, I'm not even going there yet.
Oh, I think that's wise.
Yeah.
So I'd love to talk about performance and again, sort of coming back to your roots, if you like. And you've mentioned being shy and clearly have found a way to overcome the feelings of shyness when you're on stage. Do you get stage fright? And if so, how do you deal with it and process it and manage it?
Yeah, I used to get it really, really bad. It depends on the gig. I remember like the first time I was booked by Tim Mutar from Mutar Saints to play the Ring at Beat Herder. That was like the biggest gig I'd done, and oh my god, I was literally like, I was a mess. I was just like, what is going on? I think the way that I've tackled it is just if you go through that feeling enough times, eventually it'll just disappear. So I'm not one of these people that drinks booze before they go on stage. I find that as soon as I have a drink, my brain doesn't do what it's meant to do. Yeah. I think some people argue that it gets you into that mindset, but I've always found it the complete opposite. Yeah. So just kind of just relaxing and I think the most important thing that helped me with the nerves is if it goes wrong, the chances are no one's going to notice. The only people that are going to notice are the people that like us that DJ or whatever, and they're like, there's going to be like 0.1% of the audience. Yeah. So I think it's if you can get past that and just enjoy it, I think that's really helped.
Yeah, definitely. That's actually answered my next question as well, which is what do you do if you make a mistake in a performance?
Yeah.
We just ignore it and move on because no one's going to notice anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie, if I drop that mix or whatever, or if you hear like a beat like slipping out and you're like, oh my God, like dying inside, but you just need to like carry on, or you miss that cue point and you knew that like point in that track was like the perfect like point to bring that tune in, the next one. No one's going to notice.
It's so true. It's so true. So, Beat Herder, that was, I remember seeing your socials and seeing how excited you were. Tell us about your favourite performance in your career. Now, I know this is that impossible question, but is there, can you, if you just think about it, is there a performance which springs to mind? Maybe it is the Beat Herder one, or maybe it's another.
Gosh. Do you know what? My mind always goes blank when people ask questions like this. I'm like, I've played so many gigs, but I can't think of anything to say. I've had some really cool events that I've played at. Obviously, the international ones that I've done have been cool. I think Monster is definitely one of the more fun ones that I've done, just because that gig and that the brand, it's just like my personality through and through. Yeah. It was like, it's a very kind of like the crowd is like, it used to be kind of like known for cybergoth, so there's kind of like all the kind of colourful aspects and the dressing up, and it was a Halloween event and I had like my UV skeleton costume on, and it's just like, if there was ever an event that suited me, it's that one. So yeah, that was definitely fun. Obviously the festival gigs, Boomtown with Alana, that was amazing. For years and years and years I wanted to play at Boomtown. It always falls on my birthday, so often all my friends went to Boomtown, but I stayed in Manchester because I was quite often gigging. Yeah. So it was just incredible to go and play. And I just remember we've got a lovely photo that Chris Toffee took of us at the end, where the whole tent's packed out, singing one of our own, Alana singing one of our tracks, and that was just like the best feeling. In fact, I think it was the sisters are doing it for themselves. We did play that one, because that track has been in the pipeline for a couple of years now. It's been a right slow burner. So yeah, I think Boomtown. But there's just been so many, obviously from the Hard House days as well, getting to play for Insomniacs, for Good Grief, and just as I said, the events that had, proper buzzed off. But there's just so many.
Oh, it's amazing though, isn't it? The adventures that music and doing what you love can bring you. I've written wisdom as a next topic to chat about. It's a quite a short section, but there are times when others' words can really help you
Yeah.
at a tough spot or illuminate your path when you're feeling a bit stuck. What's the best advice that someone else has given you about your career?
Be authentic. That's really resonated with me because it's far too easy to try and write music or play music that you think that's going to get you a release on like a big label, or it's going to earn you more fans. But at the end of the day, and I have fallen foul to that, because you know you want people to like you, but at the end of the day, being authentic and being true to yourself, because that shines through. So I think that's probably one of the best things that anyone's ever said to me.
And then if you could step back in time and give yourself some advice in the early days of your career when you were feeling unsure, what would you say to yourself?
Oh gosh, that's a tricky one. It's probably what I still say to myself now: focus.
Yeah,
because I'm too easily distracted. Focus and really kind of like have a firm idea of what you want to do. And again, that's something I'm still telling to myself now. I'm quite envious of artists that know exactly who they are and what they want to be and where they want to go. You know, having a personality and a brain that is a bit like a chameleon makes it quite hard. Sometimes it makes it hard for people to understand you, because it's like you can put a track out one day that has a 303 line in it, and then the next day you can put a track out that has like a disco bass line. It's all things that make me me, but to people on the outside, it can sometimes be seen as someone that doesn't really know where they're going. So yeah, that would be the advice.
Yeah, although we do have to, I still think that kind of the exploration and the journey is so important as well, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
As an artist and as a creator and curator.
Yeah.
So, what do you dream of for your future work life?
It's something that I struggle with, seeing the future. What do I dream of for my future musical life? Still being able to do what I'm doing now in 10 years' time, but being better at it and further along than I am. I think is the one. Just becoming the best that I can be. Because I think whatever happens, if I become the best that I can be, then I think I will have done pretty good.
Yeah. Wise words, and you can't get better than that, can you?
No, exactly. I think, if you get to 60, 70, whatever, and you know in your heart of hearts that you've given 150%, regardless of what you achieve, I think you can retire happy. So yeah.
Hear. Yeah. So we asked the audience for some questions. And I had a lovely question from Alana Lies, and she would love to know, who were your top female heroes or role models growing up?
Yeah, do you know what? That's a tough question. Obviously, I saw that question online, and I was like, I can't think of anything to say. I was like, who are my female role models? Because I probably could say one, but they'd be proper cringe, because as I said, when I was a kid, I was a bit of a geek. You get some people on the show and they're like, yeah, my dad used to play with Stevie Wonder and, and James and everything. And this was like my musical roots. And I'm there yet. Yeah, I was like rocking out to Spice Girls. So, so I think in terms of musical, which one? Scary and Posh Spice. I don't know, do you know what? I used to like them all. Baby Spice, obviously, because she shared the same name as me, being Emma. So I thought about this question, and I think probably the role model for me as a kid, if I'm going to be super honest, was my mum, because she's the person that you look up to.
Aww.
So, yeah, other than that, I didn't really have other than, as I said, pop stars that I idolised. I didn't really have anyone else that I kind of saw as a hero.
Yeah. Oh, that's lovely though. As a mum, it would be lovely to have my daughter tell me that.
Yeah, my mum will be listening to this, because my parents are so cute. They've been watching my live streams. They've never been to one of my gigs, but they've been allowed to watch the live streams. So every Saturday they put it on YouTube on the TV.
Oh.
And they sit there and they watch me and they have a dance. So hi, Mum.
Super proud of you.
Yeah, no, they are really proud.
That's the ideal, isn't it? The armchair rave. It's perfect.
Exactly.
No need to come out to the festival or anything. Just pop you on the telly and another of the benefits from the whole staying at home and broadcasting, really.
Absolutely.
Then Danny Milano asks, what's the most rewarding part of what you do as a DJ and producer?
Being able to do what I love.
Yeah.
I think that's massively rewarding. I just feel super blessed. You know what I mean? I might not have and I might not be living in a mansion, you know, or a lovely villa in Ibiza, but I'm doing what I love. And I think there's nothing better than when you finish that track as a producer. The hardest part is finishing, but when you do finish it and you release it and you make something that you're super proud of, that's massively proud. And I think with music, and also with music, feeling proud of how people kind of latch on to what you do. I still find it strange how people want to know what you're doing, and these people that give you all these lovely compliments and stuff on your music. So yeah, there's quite a few things.
Yeah, it's magic, that, isn't it?
Yeah, it really helps.
Yeah, and then Madam Misfit would love to know, what's your favourite Disney film?
Yay, she knows me well. Oh gosh, there's so many Disney films, but I think for me it has to be the films that I used to like when, as a kid. So Aladdin, I absolutely love, and The Lion King, although it does make me cry. But Aladdin, it's just, oh my God, it's just so fun. I love it. The genie, it is everything about me in that film. Like the Friend Like Me song. And when I found that Electro swing version, I hammered it. Literally hammered it.
Yeah, as well, that version. Was it Simgratina?
Yeah, that's the one. It used to go to all my festival sets. So it's just so fun. I love that film so much.
Brilliant, excellent. And I second, I usually cry at all Disney films, actually.
I know, I don't know how they do it.
5 minutes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now I've got a quick fire round now as we reach the end of our time together.
Okay.
So don't think about this too much.
No, I won't. I'm usually the one doing these. I'm dreading what you come up with.
PJs or naked in bed?
PJs, definitely. Although I'm quite a strange sleeper. I can only sleep in PJs that they have to be shorts and they have to be vests. I can't sleep with long sleeves or long bottoms. They're too restrictive. So somewhere in between.
So lose your mobile phone or lose your wallet?
Oh my gosh. Probably lose your wallet, because if I was savvy, I'd have on my the thing that you can use to pay for stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely wallet over the phone. And plus, I think I couldn't live without a phone. At least if I lost my wallet, I'd still be able to get on social media.
Excellent. So would you peek into your future or change something in your past?
Change something in my past.
Okay. Excellent.
Yeah, 100%.
Get up early.
Wouldn't we all though?
Yeah. Get up early or stay up late?
Oh, it depends on the day. I'm going to say stay up late.
Love or money?
Oh no. Love.
Excellent. Text or call?
Text, definitely. I don't call. Very rarely.
Day or night?
Ooh, I'm going to have to say night now instead of stayed up late. Otherwise I'll confuse people.
Peaceful life in a log cabin or chaotic life in a mansion?
Oh, chaotic life, 100%. That is me, chaotic.
Now or later?
Now. I live in the moment.
Saturday night or Sunday morning?
Oh, Saturday night. Obviously. And then regret it on Sunday morning.
Perfect. Excellent. So that's the end of our quick fire.
Thank you.
And in keeping with the tradition of the Prohibition, but changing it ever so slightly.
Ooh, okay. I'm looking forward to this twist.
What 3 things, not including your DJ kit, are your DJ gig essentials?
Oh gosh. I should have thought about this one. I didn't think it would come up. What are my essentials? Do you know what? The 100% essential is a banana. Dom James, who used to do stuff with Prohibition, always used to laugh because he always used to see me with a banana. So a banana, a bottle of water, and some chewing gum. Really boring answer there.
No, but essential nonetheless. Everything that you could possibly need to see you.
Yeah, I'm not really a girly girl, so I wouldn't really be saying lipstick, powder brush, and all that stuff. I have minimal makeup. I put it on at home, and whatever happens, happens.
And then get into the moment, and that's
exactly.
it. And then, of course, the final question, which we're all dying to know, and is, of course, the Prohibition closer. What's your favourite sandwich? What would be on the rider as your sandwich?
Absolutely. I'm vegetarian, so it's not going to be meat. I love halloumi, anything with halloumi in, and I am sold. Halloumi hummus, a bit of rocket, some avocado, some chili sauce. Big fan of chili sauce. And a bagel, not a sandwich. Toasted bagel.
Hang on a minute.
I know. Don't ask so much, do I?
Excellent. Oh, that sounds delicious, actually, as we hit nearly lunchtime.
I know. My tummy's rumbling.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Emma. It's been such a pleasure interviewing you today and finding out more about you and your life, your inspirations, also chatting about International Women's Day, which is, of course, why we're celebrating, and look forward to seeing you soon.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. You did an awesome job.
Hey, you're listening to the Prohibition Radio Show.
Hi there, I'm Emma Clair, and this is my special mix recorded exclusively for the Prohibition Radio Show.
marcianito. Asseguram os homens de ciência que em 10 anos mais tu e eu estaremos bem juntinhos. E nos cantos escuros do céu falaremos de amor. Esperado, marcianito. Esperado, branco e negro. Esperado, marcianito. Esperado, branco e negro. Esperado, 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 marcianito. 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 Asseguram os homens de ciência que em 10 anos mais tu e eu estaremos bem juntinhos. E nos cantos escuros do céu falaremos de amor. Tenho tanto te esperado, mas serei a primeira mulher a chegar até onde estás, pois na terra sou lograda. Em matéria de amor eu sou sempre passada pra trás. Eu quero um broto de Marte que seja sincero, que não se pinte nem fume, nem sabe se quer o que é rock and roll. Marcianito, branco, negro, Gorduchinho, magrinho, baixinho, gigante serás, meu amor. A distância nos separa, mas no ano 70 felizes seremos os dois. Seremos os dois. Seremos os dois, seremos os dois, seremos os dois, seremos os dois, seremos os dois. Seremos os dois. Marcianito, branco, negro, gorduchinho, magrinho, baixinho, gigante serás, meu amor. A distância nos separa, mas no ano 70 felizes seremos os dois.
can get my satisfaction.
Push me, and then just hurt me, till I can get my satisfaction.
On an old veranda where the palm trees swayed, I sang to Miranda a Californian serenade. There in all her splendor, her charm she displayed. She begged me to render a Californian serenade. Now my nights are so lonely, I feel weary and sad, for I'm missing the only sweetheart that I've had. Soon I'll be returning, so to stone my way. Back to California, California.
Listening to the Prohibition Radio Show.
I can't keep my mind off you. Where you at? Do you mind if I come through? I can't keep my mind off you. Where you at? Do you mind if I come through? They call me Thomas, last name Brown. Recognize that you can't come down. Maybe we can keep it on the low. Let your guard down, ain't nobody gotta know. Maybe we can keep it on the low. Let your guard down, ain't nobody gotta know. Maybe we can keep it on the low. Let your guard down, ain't nobody gotta know. If you really girl, I do a place to go. Let your guard down, ain't nobody gotta know. We can keep it on the low. Guard, ain't nobody gotta know. prohibition, say no thing. It's okay, it's alright. I got something that you gon' love. It's okay, it's alright. I got something that you gon' love. It's okay, it's alright. I got something that you gon' love. It's okay, it's alright. I got something that you gon' love. It's okay, it's alright. I got something that you gon' love. It's okay, it's alright. I got something that you gon' love. It's okay, it's alright. I got something that you gon' love. It's okay, it's alright.
The handwriting on the wall for prohibition. Prohibition.
Now there was a time that they used to say behind every great man they had to
Find us on Facebook, facebook.com, Prohibition MCR.
any time to change. You know that is no longer true. So we're coming out of the kitchen, 'cause there's something we forgot to say to you. Sisters are doing it for themselves, standing on their own 2 feet, ringing on their own bells.
without your kiss of fire. I touch your lips and all at once the sparks go flying. Those devil lips that know so well the art of lying. And though I see the danger, still the flame grows higher. I know I must surrender to your kiss of fire. Just like a torch you set the soul within me burning. I must go on along this road of no returning. And though it burns me and it turns me into ashes, my whole world crashes without your kiss of fire. I can't resist you. What good is there in trying? What good is there denying? You're all that I desire. Since first I kissed you, my heart was yours completely. If I'm a slave, then it's a slave I want to be. Don't pity me. Don't pity me. I touch your lips and all at once the sparks go flying. Those devil lips that know so well the art of lying. And though I see the danger, still the flame grows higher. I know I must surrender to your kiss of fire. The torture set the soul within me burning. I must go on along this road of no returning. And though it burns me and it turns me into ashes, my whole world crashes without your kiss of fire.
Prohibition MCR.
When I came to Spain and I saw people partying, I thought to myself, what the fuck, what the fuck? All day, all night, all day, all night. Viva la fiesta, viva la noche, viva los DJ, what the fuck? Viva la fiesta, viva la noche, viva los DJ, what the fuck? Viva la fiesta, viva la fiesta, viva la fiesta, viva la fiesta. Johnny, la gente está muy loca. noche. Viva los DJ. What the fuck? Fuck. Viva la fiesta. Viva la noche. Viva los DJ. What the fuck? All day, all night, all day, all night, what the fuck?
Come da può capire chi ti va bene, se tu la parla miezza americano, quando si fa l'amore sotto la luna, come da viene in capo di I love you, papà l'americano. Papà l'americano. Papà l'americano. Papà l'americano. Papà l'americano. Papà l'americano. Papà l'americano.
What a brilliant selection of music from Prohibition head honcho Emma Clair. I so enjoyed our chat and discovering more about her creativity, ambition and music endeavour, and I'm sure you did too. Next time on the Prohibition radio show, Emma Clair will be speaking to Italy's Swing Growers, who have their brand new album Hybrid launching at the end of March. That's one I know I'll be excited to listen to. Till then, I'm Tallulah Goodtimes. It's been a pleasure to present the Prohibition radio show. Take good care and keep on swinging.